Last-minute updates on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Surprisingly, our correspondents acquired this valuable information. However, before we delve into the news, I have a request. Kindly subscribe to the channel so that we can soon surpass the subscriber count of the Boston Bruins. With your support, we aim to achieve the status of the leading news channel. Brad Treliving, the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, has just accomplished the most significant task in his inaugural year on the job. He successfully secured a new contract for the franchise cornerstone, Auston Matthews. Treliving faced an unusually high volume of off-season tasks upon taking up the role of Toronto Maple Leafs GM. He confronted a departure of unrestricted free agents from the previous year's team, all of whom he had to either re-sign or replace. Additionally, decisions were required regarding Matthews and fellow core forward William Nylander. Treliving had a relatively short time frame to complete these tasks, yet he demonstrated his capability to handle them. Toronto Maple Leafs, Treliving deserves recognition for Matthews' agreement. Imagine yourself in Treliving's position as he commenced his initial weeks on the job. Firstly, he had approximately 3 weeks to make determinations regarding his own free agents, 6 of whom were key players from the prior season. Next, he had to fill the roster with new additions, all within a relatively limited amount of available cap space to occupy multiple positions. Lastly, the most challenging task: secure contract extensions for Matthews and Nylander. Ideally, these extensions needed to be finalized before the start of the season to prevent potential significant distractions. At some point, he also had to allocate time to meet his new players and staff, engaging in purposeful conversations with each of them. Mission accomplished on the Matthews front. In roughly 2 months, Treliving managed to impress his most essential player to the extent that Matthews recognized re-signing with the Leafs as his best course of action. Furthermore, the terms of the deal progressively favor the Leafs each year. Benefits of the Matthews deal for the Toronto Maple Leafs. As per the NHL's collective bargaining agreement, the maximum percentage of the salary cap that any individual player can earn stands at 20%. With the salary cap anticipated to rise to $87.5 million for the 2024 to 2025 season, Matthews' AAV, average annual value, of $13.25 million translates to nearly 16% of the Leafs' salary cap allocation. Assuming the salary cap increases in a linear fashion at around $3 million per year, a conservative estimate, the $13.25 million AAV will exhibit an increasingly favorable ratio each year. Information from capfriendly.com. In the 2025 to 2026 season, if the cap were to be, say, $92 million, the Matthews cap hit would represent 14.4%. Similarly, if the cap were set at $95 million for the 2026 to 2027 season, the percentage cap hit would be just under 14%. For the final year of Matthews' extension, the cap hit would be 13.5%, based on a projected $98 million NHL salary cap. A modest annual increase of $3 million in the NHL salary cap results in each subsequent year of Matthews' deal, moving further away from the 20% player maximum. What does securing Matthews for less than 20% of the cap imply for the Leafs? In the 2024 to 2025 season, they now have an additional $3.5 million to allocate elsewhere. In each subsequent year, they would have an extra $4.6, $5.7, and $6.175 million, respectively, in salary cap space. Contract precedent will aid in signing other star players. By concluding the Matthews deal first, Treliving now possesses a benchmark for negotiations with his other top players. A numerical value and a percentage of the salary cap have been established for the best player on the Toronto Maple Leafs. The next core player in line for a new contract is Nylander. Treliving can now refer to what he is paying his top player and leverage that during negotiations. The same strategy applies when Mitch Marner becomes eligible for an extension next summer. Barring exceptional circumstances, such as a career-best performance or winning NHL awards, it becomes more challenging for Nylander and Marner to demand overly extravagant terms in their discussions with the team. Moreover, they observed that Matthews and the Leafs found a middle ground and resolved his contract to benefit both parties.